What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 180 of the Tastecast, our weekly podcast where we talk all things gaming. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Chevy. Chevy, we've made it. It's 2023. We're days into the new year. How you faring this year?
Surviving. No, it's been good. Nothing really to complain about. Trying to play catch up on some games that came out in the last couple months because a bunch of them just kind of shotgunned out, so that's been kind of rough.
That's one thing I was going to say is I'm enjoying the brief lull we got right now.
Very brief, but yes.
Like all the games I had to pack into the end of 2022 to make sure I could talk about game of the year. That's not an obligation for me anymore, and I'm still playing some of those games. But like 2023, I'm like, I got no obligations. I can play whatever the fuck I want. I'm doing that right now. So yeah, I get where you're coming from on that.
Yeah. And other than that, I think patch. Oh boy, what version are we on? 6.3 just came out for Final Fantasy 14, so I need to hop on and do that soon.
How's rating going?
It's not. We're always one person short. It's always a different person, but it's always one person short. So
rough.
Yeah,
very rough. All right, well, that's cool. Outside of the rating thing, my 2023 has been good so far.
Good.
I've been playing we'll talk about it, but I've been playing a very particular and specific kind of game this year, which has been very interesting, and we'll talk about that when we talk about what we've been playing. But yeah, with that, it's the first Tastecast of the year and the month. So we got to talk about game releases, and yeah, let's move over to that real quick. And this is via thegamer.com. We're going to read off all the games coming out in January. We're going to talk about if we're excited for them or not. So, pretty short list, but I see some pretty big names on this. With January 13th, apparently is the beginning of the releases. We got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot coming out on PS5, Xbox Series. Then on the 13th as well, we got One Piece Odyssey coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. Very cool to see it's coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. January 19th, we got Persona 4 Golden, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC. And then on the 19th, we got Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3 Portable on PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. Then on the 19th as well, we got Colossal Cave on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Then on the 20th, we got Fire Emblem Engage on Switch, already coming out, which is pretty wild. And then we got Monster Hunter Rise on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series. Then on the 24th, we got Forspoken finally coming out on PS5 and PC. Then on the 26th, we have Hitman World of Assassination on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Then on the 27th, we finally get the remake of Dead Space coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. And then on the 31st, my birthday, Raiden 4X Mikado Remix, definitely a Japanese game, I'm going to guess, on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC. And then on the 31st as well, we got Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition coming out on Xbox One, Xbox Series. Then on the 31st as well, Season A Letter to the Future on PS4, PS5, and PC. And then the last, but maybe the least, I don't know, on the 31st, we got SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cosmic Shake on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Chevy, what games are calling out to you in January?
More than I was expecting, honestly.
Yeah, it's a really short list, but it's like almost all games I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah. So I'm definitely interested in picking up One Piece Odyssey. I don't know if I'm gonna buy day one, but I definitely want to play it. So
one cool thing on that, for anybody who doesn't know, maybe you guys know, but apparently the One Piece Odyssey demo is out, and apparently you get to keep your progression from that demo.
Oh, interesting. Square does that a lot too, so it's interesting to see. I think that's Bandai doing the same.
So even if you're not 100% ready to just buy it day one, you could at least start your progress and check the game out, which I think is pretty cool, and I wish more people would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Square's been doing it for the last couple of years with their demos too. So specifically on Switch. Anyways, yeah, I want to try that. Maybe I'll download the demo. Another game on this list I had done the same and have not played yet though. Persona 4 Golden I thought was out and I thought I owned on PC, so I'm really confused by that one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have swore I bought Persona 4 on PC.
This is via thegamer.com, so if they got it fucked up, That's their fault.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one at all. Unless they just added PC on accident. Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3 Portable would be cooler if it was just Persona 3. But, yeah, I might pick it up eventually.
That name rolls right off the tongue.
Fire Emblem Engage, I would like to pick up. I still have not played and beat the last game, though, so I should probably do that first. Though the character designer in this is an artist that I enjoy, so I will be... I'm a little more inclined to pick it up because of that. Let's see. Monster Hunter Rise I already have. I don't need another copy.
But it's very cool that it's coming out to everything that's not PC and Switch.
Agreed, but I'm getting kind of tired of Monster Hunter having multiple launches for the same game on multiple platforms.
No, I agree with that for
just
sure.
doing global launches, but good opportunity for people on PlayStation and Xbox to play the game. It's a lot of fun. Combat is super fluid in this one. So.
I hope their next big release for Monster Hunter, they will release it on everything at once, since they are not opposed to doing that. They just do it, like you said, at different times, and crossplay. It's like the only two things that Monster Hunter really needs.
I don't know why they don't do crossplay. That the longevity of Monster Hunter would be even longer then. Forspoken, I have a curiosity, and in all honesty, I will likely pick up at some point. I have not played the demo. I've heard mixed things. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot for me. I don't have necessarily the same taste in games as a lot of people do. So,
I think you might like it.
yeah, I think I might as well, but we'll see. I need to play the demo. I just keep forgetting about it, and I don't turn my console on that much because I mostly PC games. So, yeah, I think that's it. And I think Raiden is a bullet hell game, and I always have an interest in those, but I don't ever play them.
It sounded familiar, but I was like, I don't know exactly what this is.
And Season, I don't know what that is at all, unless it is like the Harvest Moon style game, which I can't remember.
That's kind of what I thought it might be.
It's hard because I know that's called Story of Season or Season of Story or something like that. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know what that one is. But anyways, yeah, pretty substantial amount.
Yeah, especially for you. Interesting. I'm interested in One Piece Odyssey. I don't know if I'm going to buy it because I haven't really looked that much into it, but I will play the demo because I want to know what it's all about. Apparently, it's a RPG and not like the last game they made, so I find that really interesting. And if I play it and I want to keep playing it, I can always just buy it and continue my progress. So I think it's really cool. Fire Emblem Engage is also something I'm interested in playing, but also I never really played the last game. I played the one before that quite a bit. So I'm a little behind, but this one seems like it's its own thing, completely different. It has a completely different art style. So I wouldn't be opposed to picking it up and still, starting fresh with this, because I'm sure it's not a continuation of anything. So that's cool. Hitman World of Assassination, I'm definitely interested in. Don't know much about it, but I like Hitman, so that's enough for me. Forspoken, I think I am going to pick up. I played the demo. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I have very mixed opinions on the game, but I enjoyed my time with it. So I think that's the most important thing to really kind of note there, and I think I'm going to pick it up. Dead Space, I definitely want to pick up. That's looking better and better. I've already played Dead Space, so I know what to expect, but it's looking good. But I find it really interesting that I haven't still played the Callisto Protocol. I still need to go back and play it, but I just heard a lot of really mixed things about it. But yeah, then let's see. I think that's about it for me. Did you pick more games than I did?
No, I commented on a few though.
Yeah. Very interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be a month full of games to play for sure that I want to play. But luckily, nothing like that's a must play for me outside of maybe Dead Space. But I feel like I've played it as well, so I don't feel as inclined to want to have to do that. But definitely want to play it. But yeah, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments what games are you guys excited for in January, and what games are you not excited for. Maybe there's a game on this list you're like, I'm definitely not going to play that shit. And is there something that the gamer missed coming out in January? Maybe an indie game, maybe something on Steam that's early access. Let us know in the comments. What game are you excited for in the comments below. All right, let's jump into what we've been playing, where we talk about the games we've been playing in like the last week or so. Although it's been like 3 weeks since the last Tasty Cast, so I will allow something that maybe happened like 2 weeks ago that you just didn't get a chance to talk about. How about you start us off with your games you've been playing though?
Okay, I'm going to start with the ones I can't really talk about too much. I played a little Axiom Verge 2, which we'll talk about on Plus Club at the end of the month, but it is different in setting in the beginning than the first one. I'll just say that much. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it wasn't what I was expecting.
same. Brain just stopped on the other game. What's the game of the month called again?
Solasta.
Solasta. Play some Solasta now with multiple groups, which I'll have something to talk about on that as well at the end of the month. For game of the month, make sure to come back and check that out.
Multiple groups.
Yeah, you guys, and then I picked it up for Chris and played with him. So,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
yeah. Let's see. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV recently because I logged into try to raid. That didn't happen, so we just kind of did a group run around and make some gil. It was fun. We mostly just got to bullshit while playing the game, so it's good. Yeah. Outside of that, I've mostly only played. I've played a couple like tiny things here and there that aren't really worth mentioning, but I've mostly been playing Harvestella. I put about 60, 70 hours in the game, which is way longer than the game takes to beat. I'm slow when it comes to playing games, though, so but I have beaten it. I am now being a completionist because I enjoyed my time with it very much. So I'm just kind of getting all the vegetables and stuff, fruits and stuff like that grown. I'm finishing there's like a deep dungeon type thing.
So you can keep playing after you finish
Yes.
the story. Okay.
There's not really a post game as much as just an opportunity to finish all the stuff you didn't do.
Gotcha.
You do unlock the ability to marry someone at the end of the game after you beat it, though, if that matters to anybody. So, yeah, doing that right now.
Would it have been in your top 3 games of 2022?
I think if the gameplay was, if the combat was better, probably, because the story is very good.
Oh, interesting. I didn't expect that.
The combat's kind of boring. I don't mind it, but I played better games, like gameplay wise in that regard.
Yeah.
So, combat's effectively you have an attack button with like a 3-hit combo for most jobs, or a charge ability if you're a caster. There are 12 jobs. 2 are hidden secret jobs. 10 you get while playing through the game. You can have 3 equipped at once, so you can hot swap between them, but there's a cooldown for switching back, which shortens as you level up the jobs. There's like a skill cooldown thing you can spec into. Not that it's like a huge tree, but yeah. So like for burst damage, it's all right because you can like do your 4 moves, switch jobs, do your moves, switch jobs, do your moves, and then you kind of wait for everything to cool back down. But yeah, it's fine. It's pretty much what I have to say with the combat. Story was very surprising. I was not expecting to play a farming sim and get invested in, without getting too detailed for anyone who might be interested in playing it, a pretty how do I word this? It's a very sci-fi storyline. That's all I can really say. Has a lot to do with multiple worlds and time and stuff. So kind of not how it was advertised at all, which is kind
Yeah,
of
it doesn't
interesting.
say anything about that at all in the
Yeah, it
trailers.
comes off very fantasy when you're watching the trailers.
Well, they just say there's a thing coming that
Quietus or whatever. Yeah.
that's it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to say much more because it'll ruin it. It is a short game if you don't do all the side stuff, though the side quests are also interesting. So I did all of them. They have little mini stories that are happening. Your characters and 2 non-playable party members have their own relationship bars too, and you do side quests for them, and you get like their whole story as well as you do that. And as you level up their relationship bar, for example, the first character you get, as you level, you get bonus to crit and bonus to burst when they're in your party, and that number goes up the higher the relationship is. So they have stats attached to them as well. So if you like to play like a melee job, for example, you probably want someone who has like crit and attack. Versus if you play a caster, you might want the people who give you like magic up, magic defense up, stuff like that. Kind of interesting system in that regard. There's rare fish and rare, not rare, more sort of expensive plants. I guess they're technically some rare plants, but they're mostly the fishing has the rare stuff. Cooking, you do the cooking stuff. There's bars all over the world, and they want you to bring them recipes, so they have like a menu they can make, and you get paid for turning in dishes and stuff like that. So it's just another like mini game thing you can do.
Sounds like it has a lot of features. It almost sounds like the combat was tacked on.
It's a very like large game with a lot of stuff to do in it. And a lot of interest. And I like the story. I like every character story too, except for one. Out of the entire cast, there's only one character. I was just like, yeah, this person didn't even need to be in this game. But
damn,
I just think they're boring. They're like typical like edgy boy type thing. So, which I'm sure some people like, but it gets a little boring when that's their sole personality.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah. The combat's and it's not even bad. I feel like I'm like saying too much, but I think it's also worth saying because I do think there are people who would play it, feel the combat system, go, yeah, I'm not playing this.
I mean, the only way I'm interpreting it is that the combat's just the weak point of the game.
Yeah, I think it's the weakest point of the game.
But I never planned on buying that game for the combat. Like I would want it to be better, but I thought the idea of a JRPG with a farm simulator style hybrid situation going on was the interesting part of the thing, not the combat.
Yeah, the nice thing about the farming and the cooking and stuff like that is that's your health potions. So you make like vegetable juice, tomato juice, whatever. Like those are usually just straight up like health potions versus like when you make food, they also give you health. They give you stamina, which is required for actions. So like even just swing your weapon. If you haven't eaten that day and your stamina runs out, you can't swing anymore. So, but if you eat some food, it'll give you you have like a full stomach gauge, and it'll start refilling your stamina while emptying your stomach. But also will give you some instant stamina after eating as well. So it's like almost like a stamina potion and then sometimes they'll be like, this food gives you crit up, this one gives you fire resistance, blah blah blah. And there's a ton of recipes in the game. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's got a lot to it, and that's been one of my favorite parts about it outside of the story. I just don't really care about like the fighting is just a means to an end, really. So
yeah,
boss fights have mechanics too, which is kind of interesting. So you have to like dodge stuff. Never hard, but they put effort in at least in that regard.
At least you have something to think about.
Instead of just hitting each other.
Yeah.
So.
Just the giant bold sponge.
Yeah, the only thing about another complaint about combat is not line of sight. If the boss can't get, or a monster in general can't get to you, like if they get stuck on your allies and they're trying to get to you, if it takes too long, they reset and de-aggro and get all their health back.
I hate that.
Yeah. So don't try to get them stuck on things. You need to be fighting them. So.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
They're punishing you for their own like bad AI.
I don't feel like they put a lot of resources into the game, which is funny because it has a lot to it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe the person who thought it up had bigger ideas than what they could even do, like budget wise or team wise.
I'd love to see a second one. I don't know how they would do it with these characters, so it'd probably have to be completely different. But I liked it a lot, more than I thought it would. So
I'll have to pick it up. I wanted to play it, just didn't have time. So
yeah, well, and you got a Steam Deck, so it'd be real easy to take it along with you. Plus, the game you can save any time, but it also just auto saves every time you go to bed. So you can just shut it off as soon as you sleep in that game. So
sounds cool.
Yep. I think that's all I've been playing. Because the other game that's taken up most of my time is Game of the Month. I can't talk about it too much. So.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of what I've been playing, but yeah, we'll be able to talk about that as well. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. So I also have been playing Solasta. It's my pick for game of the month. In case you missed the last episode. So yeah, definitely been playing it. I think I have like 30 hours in it now. So nothing too crazy, but I've definitely been playing. It's not like a Plus Club situation where I put like 2 to 3 hours into the game. Without spoiling anything about it, it is a turn-based Divinity style game. In case you're curious, up to 4-player cooperative. It's a D&D simulator as well, so you can make your own campaigns.
Understatement.
Yeah, it is D&D pretty much. And yeah, I've started a campaign with Josh. I've started a campaign with Josh and Sarah, and I started a campaign with Chevy, Josh, and Sarah. So I have 3 different campaigns happening.
I have a single player one as well.
No.
Oh, no? Okay.
No.
So I have a single player, I have one with Chris, I have one with you, the 3 of you.
I thought about it, but I just too many campaigns to keep track of. But, just making new characters every single campaign and trying out different builds and different classes and all that stuff that we will talk about in detail at the end of the month. But definitely playing it quite a bit. So I'll have a lot to say about it. And I feel like you will as well. The Plus games, only one I've played so far is Axiom Verge 2. I still got to play Fallout 76 and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Same.
But I have played Axiom Verge 2. I was kind of thrown off in the beginning of it. I need to play more of it. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Played The Hunter Call of the Wild, which is a hunting game. I was going to say a hunter game. I guess it is, technically. Josh has been playing that for a little bit now and keeps talking it up, so I finally picked it up when it was on sale. It has co-op. I haven't tried that out yet. But essentially, you just pick a forest, pick your equipment, wander around the woods looking for things. It has objectives if you want. You can activate missions where it's like, oh, take a picture of this kind of deer, or get this kind of animal, like hunt this kind of animal, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. You can ride around on like quads, and sound is a huge aspect of the game, so you have to be like really quiet when approaching animals. It's fun, but don't play it when you're tired, because it's a little too peaceful of a game. A lot of the game is just walking through the woods, listening to birds chirping, the wind blowing, and every once in a while a deer goes, "Urr," and like you gotta like slowly walk towards that, creep on it for like a good 15 minutes while you're trying to track it, and eventually shoot it and hope that it bleeds out quick enough, because I've followed a deer for like miles after shooting it.
Next, you're going to tell me you're playing fishing games.
Yeah, maybe that's up next. But yeah, overall it's pretty cool. I like it, but the last time I played it, I was like really tired. And I was like sitting there, and I would like just be walking through the woods, and all of a sudden I'd open my eyes. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And I'm still walking through the woods. I'm like, oh shit! Like I didn't realize I like passed out for a second. So it's a tranquil game. So I've been playing Solasta, and that hasn't been enough for me apparently. So I've been buying some turn-based games. One of them being, I don't know if it's Wilder Myth or Wilder Myth. I'm going to assume it's Wilder Myth, which is a turn-based game, up to 4-player cooperative. So I'd like to try a campaign of that, I guess. But it kind of has like a cartoony indie look to it. Not very detailed. But its whole shtick is like there's three main classes. And it's kind of like a roguelite. So you start out on a chunk of a map, and then as time goes on, you explore to other chunks of maps, and you have to take those pieces of map, you have to fortify them, and you have to be ready at a certain time. Enemies will invade them and try to destroy them, in which you got to move your characters around on the map to combat them.
Valheim?
Yeah, but it's like it's a map. You're not playing on the map. You're like clicking on the map. Like, okay, go fortify this city. Go this. But every time combat starts, it's turn-based, XCOM / Divinity style gameplay. Right. One of the characters or classes is essentially just a fighter. The other one's a magic user, but magic in this game is really weird. And then there's a ranged person. But as they level up, you get choices on what you want to add to that character, and then you get to recruit new characters, and then you do the same with them as they level. So you start building them differently from each other, and Yeah, so it has like that Solasta divinity feel when it comes to the combat, but it has its own kind of take on it, and the whole roguelite nature of it is really interesting. Um, but yeah, I'd like to play it with people. I'm curious on how that works, but it's a fun game. It's fun to play on my Steam Deck. Feels a little less invested in the sense of like I'm not sitting here like playing through like this story that's really building. Oh, one thing it does really neat though is it crafts a story randomly every time you play. So like you make your characters and then random events will happen and you're picking what they say and then like for instance one of the random events one of my characters like heard a voice and he started talking about it and the other character's like what are you talking about, like there's no voice, and it said either hey we should leave or oh maybe you should like listen to it. And so I clicked maybe you should listen to it or something like that, and all of a sudden my guy like got cursed and turned into a wolf man, and then he changed his character completely. And so in the next like sections where stories happening he was always a wolf man after that. So yeah, your characters are actually like evolving as you play it. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in it, really interesting stuff that I'd like to explore more. They do a really good job on like the random events, the random combat, the random things that are going on every run essentially. So, and then apparently if you beat the game, any surviving characters, I think you can either carry them over to the next thing or they retire. I read somewhere you can retire the characters. I don't know how that works. So yeah, I think if you lose your characters though, they're gone. So it's got a really cool system, but I got to play it more. I got to beat it. I know Sarah already played through a full campaign once, so
If it wasn't for the roguelike stuff, I'd probably be interested. But
yeah, I should just show you at some point because I'm saying roguelite only because the random run aspect of it, but because your characters can carry over, it's not quite the same.
yeah,
Let's see. I got Wasteland 3. I played that a little bit because I was looking at other games that were turn-based, and everybody said that if you're done with Divinity Original Sin 2 and you're waiting for Baldur's Gate 3, this is the game to play in between them. So I picked it up, played a little bit with Sarah, and it's not as deep as Divinity or Solasta or Baldur's Gate 3, which I have played. I played early access of that. I'm sure it's way better than it was then. It's still really cool then.
yeah, I'm waiting for a full release before I touch it.
Yeah. It's got a huge emphasis on it's two-player cooperative. So when you start the game, you either get to make two characters for yourself, or you can make your character and whoever's playing with you makes the other character. And then you control them independently. And combat is very much like XCOM. It's not quite as robust and tactical as like the other types of games in the genre. Apparently it has really, really good choice in the game though. I've barely played it. I've only put like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into it. But the thing I kept reading was people said that like everything that you do in the game will actually have results, which I think sounds really cool. But
That's quite ambitious.
yeah. I played Wasteland 1, and I thought it was pretty cool. Never played 2. Everybody says 2 wasn't that great, I guess. And then, yeah, playing Wasteland 3. And I'm enjoying it, but not as much as other games in the genre. But it's pretty cool. It definitely has its own style, has its own attitude and flair to it. It's kind of like futuristic, post-apocalyptic, but also has this like punk and cowboy feeling to it. So that's really interesting. And yeah, I need to play it more to really have more to say on it, but so far pretty neat, but definitely not my highest priority when it comes to these kind of games. Yeah, played the Forspoken demo. I came out of it wanting to pick it up. Things I liked about it was it's funny, the movement in the game is like atrocious. Just like walking. It feels really clunky. It feels like a Rockstar game. Like when you walk forward and take a right, like the character has to actually like turn on like an axis area, and it feels like they're trying to make it really realistic. But then when you do the parkour, it's buttery smooth and amazing feeling. So you're never gonna want to walk in the game unless maybe you're in town. It's just a really interesting contrast because I started walking in the demo and I was like, oh god, this feels awful. And then I think you hold down like L2 or R2, I don't remember, but you'll start running. And then the longer you run, I think you run faster. But like as you approach things, you'll run up the the sides of cliffs. You'll leap over things. You'll do flips over things, and it's like it feels really good. They did a really good job on that. So really interesting. I forgot the main character's name. Faye.
I don't remember.
She's really annoying, and she talks a lot. Her voice is really dorky, really, and this is something that either people agree with me or don't agree with me. When people don't agree with me, they get upset. If you like her voice, I'm not telling you to dislike it. You can like it. I don't like it. It's very, very Marvel, very like fish out of water, very like, whoa, I can't believe all this crazy stuff's happening. But she has like a really. The problem I have with her voice the most is like it's super just like adolescent and like annoying sounding, and that'd be fine in small bursts, but she talks a lot, like nonstop. Everything you're doing, she's saying something. And then you also have this Cuff that talks as well, and he talks a lot too, and his voice isn't as annoying as hers, but they're both just talking nonstop with everything you're doing. And a part of me thinks that like that immersion should be really neat, but at the same time, I don't feel like most people are talking that much doing anything. So
I mean, I'm definitely not.
yeah, so I think I can appreciate what they're trying to do, but I think they overdid it. So if there's
That's
options,
English, right?
yes, and I believe you can play in Japanese because I think in the demo I looked, but yeah, it was just too much, but not that big a deal. Combat is actually really cool. One thing I was going to mention that I forgot. Default settings for graphics, the game looks like it's lagging to me. The frames per second are really bad. So I turned it on to performance mode. Plays really good, but then the game has so much particle effects that to avoid slowdown, the graphics get worse. So it's kind of like DLSS or what the hell it's called. Which I appreciate because there's no lag. It plays smooth, but like I got a situation where I was like blowing shit up. There's particles flying everywhere. There's enemies everywhere. All this stuff's happening. And soon I was just looking at the detail and it's just like pixels. And I was like, this looks so muddy and shitty.
Interesting.
But then once the combat was over, the game looks really crisp, really good looking, really nice. So in a way, I appreciate that they're making sure the performance is good. But I have to at least acknowledge too that the engine they're using is interesting because it's a really nice looking engine, but it's capable of looking really bad when it needs to make sure the game is running smooth. So that was interesting. But the combat's really cool. There's a shitload of spells and skills in this game. I was like mixing those words. There's a lot. There's like 2 different schools of spells that I'm sure there's even more later in the game. I don't know. And then within those, you have like 4 you can pick from. So that's like 8. And then they all like level up and expand. So
Okay.
it's pretty crazy. There's like up close stuff. There's like distance abilities. Fire, ice. There's one where you're using like plants to grab things. So they're kind of stuck in place. So yeah, I really liked the combat a lot. So they definitely got that down. It feels good, feels fluid. You feel powerful. Exploration of the map is okay. It's a lot of open fields. It looks nice. There's enemies to fight out there, but it does feel like what there is to do on the map is like just kind of things sitting there waiting, and then you activate it, and then you do the activity, and then you go away. So it could be done better, but it wasn't boring. So like one was just like this thing I walked up to. I forgot what it was, but it's like, do you want to activate this side mission thing? I was like, yeah. So it's like this defend the base scenario that happened where like there's humans up on this stairway, and then enemies would just spawn, and I had to like keep them alive for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And then once I was done with that, I got XP, I got the reward, but then I was just done. And I think you can repeat it, but it's like just an activity you can do. So there's stuff to do, but it's like not organic feeling. It's not like, I don't know, that great, I guess. Yeah. One of the bosses, I just kind of mashed the same ability over and over again on him and was able to beat them. So that's a thing. So yeah, feel kind of mixed on the game, but overall I thought the gameplay was fun. I thought the combat was fun. Storyline, barely got into it. Too much talking, which sounds kind of ridiculous, but whatever. And yeah, the game's all right. I think I'm gonna pick it up though. I want to see where the story goes. I want to see how the gameplay evolves because that was the best part of the game and the most important part of the game. So, yeah, Forspoken made me feel confused. And last but not least, I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic again. The reason I started playing again is because I got triggered on TikTok. I talked about Deep Rock Galactic and some other game and how games like those you want to support because they're so good. Everybody's got one that they play a lot that they love the developer. And somebody had said that Deep Rock Galactic didn't have any content. It had like 5 to 7 missions when it has 8 missions exactly. So I made a video talking about that. It got traction. You guys watched it here on YouTube. Thank you for watching. It's got like almost 4,000 views on it. So that's pretty crazy. I haven't had a video like that in a while on YouTube. Then over on TikTok, it did really well as well. So with having the conversation so frequently about Deep Rock Galactic with people on both areas, I was like, I need to play Deep Rock Galactic more again. So I've been playing it a lot lately, and it's been a lot of fun. If you want to know, my deeper opinions on the game, just watch that video, I guess, because some guy was like, this guy's really counting the hairs on this game. I'm like, the guy said there's no content. I had to correct that because that's not accurate. Objectively, it's not accurate. But yeah, been playing that. Got my driller to a silver tier, I guess. Every time you prestige, you get a star. You get 3 stars. You move to the next tier. So I am moving up with my driller. Did the holiday event, so I got all the like heads and all the equipment. That's all snowman and elf Santa looking stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna start working on my engineer because that's my least played class, which is really weird because when I first played Deep Rock Galactic when it first came out, I was all about the engineer. And then I started playing with Sarah. She liked engineer so much, I was like, I'm not gonna touch it. You level that up, I'll play the other ones. And I've barely played engineer at this point, which is really weird. But yeah, I got a couple hundred hours in that game and still not bored with it. So I'm gonna keep playing it and try to get everybody caught up. Every time I got Cody to play a while back, and in the beginning of the game, there's like 8 missions you have to do before you start doing all the assignments freely. It's essentially a tutorial, so I had to get him through it. And then I played with Josh the other night, and he's like, I can't do the weeklies. And I'm like, why can't you do the weeklies? He's like, oh, I got like 8 missions I got to do. I'm like, you're still in the fucking tutorial? You've been playing this game for a while. How the hell are you on the tutorial still? So we had to do it with him too. So that's always kind of a setback because I'd like to be doing like, the more fun content than, the missions it's trying to teach you how to play the game with. So, but I got Josh out of that. We got Cody out of that. So don't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, I think that's what I've been playing. Anything else for you?
Mm-mm.
All right, well, let us know in the comments what games have you guys been playing lately? What games do you plan on playing? What games did you recommend us play? And what's your favorite turn-based Baldur's Gate style game ever made? Let me know in the comments below.
Ever made?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think most people say Divinity, too.
I would say Baldur's Gate 2, but I just have some nostalgia connected to
A
that
lot of
one.
people probably say that as well.
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion. I got to think about it more. Got to think about that longer.
Yeah, I don't have like an outright opinion, but that's the first one that comes to mind every time. So probably that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I haven't played it in a long time. I kind of thought about getting the... isn't there a...
It's an enhanced edition of 1 and 2, and I think Icewind Dale as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're older, and you'd have to remember old D&D, but...
It'd be interesting to play those, though.
I would say the stories are good, and they're hard as hell, so...
Yeah. The way I like it. All right. Let us know what you think in the comments below when it comes to all that stuff. And let's move on to the first video. I think the only video we're going to be watching this episode. And that is Sons of the Forest exclusive hands-on preview. Now, this is the sequel to The Forest, if you've played that. And if you haven't played it, that is a horror-themed survival game where you crash in a forest where you're trying to look for your kid who's on the plane with you, and you have to fight off all these weird tribal-like monster people while trying to, hunt to be able to eat, build shelter, stuff like that. Well, this is the sequel to that, and it promises to add a lot to the formula. So we're going to watch this and react to it. Before that, I think it's pretty obvious for anybody who's been watching this show regularly, but what's your thoughts and anticipation on Sequel to the Forest?
It's not a game I'm going to play. I don't do horror games. So that being said, I do like survival games. So I'm sure there'll be some things here, that I'll be able to at least appreciate. But it'll be hard for me to have like any sort of enthusiasm for games. Unless they pull it off, I'm not going to play. So
yeah, I think it's interesting though. The first time they showed this game, the reveal for it, we were both really impressed with how it looked.
Yeah.
So at least they got that going for them. I know the horror aspect you're not going to be interested in though, so that's going to be a pretty stern no from you when it comes to that, unless you could turn that off maybe. But other than that, it was interesting that you could still even appreciate that they were doing something with it that was definitely looking good graphically.
I mean, I try to look at things even if I know I'm not interested in them. I still try to like see the good stuff in them. And I fully understand why people play things I don't, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's how I am. When people like hear somebody doesn't like something or like something that they feel the opposite on, and they're just like, "What the fuck? That game sucks," or "What the fuck? That game's amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, to you." Like it's so easy to just think about what you like, but you can't objectively like look or even try to understand subjectively like how somebody could like that other game. Like I'm not a Gears of War guy, but I get why people like them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have like a deep opinion, like one way or another. Like the visual style of those games just isn't for me. So it's a little bit of a turn off, but that's not me going, I don't like the game. I played the game. I don't have an opinion. So
yeah,
it's hard to, I don't know.
I also like most games though, so it's like rare for me to have like a strong opinion that would make me not want to play a game, and even a game that I'm not particularly interested in, I can still go like, I'm sure people enjoy that or whatever. It's very rare that I'll look at a game and be like, no, that game's complete garbage. I have to feel almost like insulted by it for me to actually have that kind of response. So.
I say most of my strong opinions before playing a game usually come from are usually towards companies and not the game itself, because like the devs are just working whatever, like, but there's a few companies I see them making a game and I don't care how good the game is. I'm like, I just can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. All right, well, let's watch this video and then we can talk about what we see. This is Sons of the Forest exclusive hands-on preview in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Yeah, wiggle it at him.
Unlike some of its peers, The Forest, the survival horror game from Canadian-based studio Night Games, delivered on not just the popular gather and craft survival game format, but also added a surprisingly complex and equally bananas story featuring cannibals and mutants. With the immediate arrival of its long-awaited sequel, Sons of the Forest, comes not only the pressure to top the beloved experience of the original, but also to add some new and increasingly wild surprises. And based on the 5 hours that I've played so far, I'm not only excited about the sequel's potential, but also confident that Night could revolutionize the survival genre. The Forest begins with a simple premise. You've crash-landed on a mysterious peninsula and begin your quest to survive at all costs. There was also the optional objective of finding your kidnapped son, a task that would take you down a wild and disturbing narrative rabbit hole populated by flesh-hungry mutants. Sons of the Forest largely shares the same setup, substituting your son for a missing billionaire. It's a basic idea, but one that allows you to jump straight into the action, allowing players who have no intention of progressing the rescue mission to solely focus on building their very own lakeside resort with some friends right away. Just like its predecessor, you can play, build, and cause chaos with 7 of your friends in co-op, but you can still see everything Sons of the Forest has to offer in single player. The big difference this time though, is that even when you play solo, you're not alone. Enter Calvin.
I mean, I guess
At the very
survival
start
game.
of Sons of the Forest, you're introduced to Calvin, an elite soldier who not only survived the helicopter crash that stranded you on the island, but is also very much along for the survival ride
Later.
as an AI companion. While
That's
Calvin
interesting.
has suffered some major head trauma that's left him unable to speak, his injuries have not, perhaps surprisingly, prevented him from being extremely helpful. In an apparent effort to replicate the multiplayer experience for solo players, Calvin will follow you around and respond to commands issued via a bunch of handy quick select
weird.
options on a notepad. He'll take orders to see
That's
out your
kinda
less than
crazy.
desirable busy
Yeah.
work, such as chopping down trees and gathering logs. During my hands-on, the value of having an AI companion was
Oh, he
immensely
feels like
noticeable.
AI the way he
There was a
moves.
huge benefit to sending Calvin off to find resources, while my co-op partner and I focused on
It's almost
designing
like
our
you have a
structure.
robot
I'd
with you.
regularly turn
Yeah.
around to find a fresh pile of logs for our disposal, with Calvin already on his merry way to collect more. Not only will Calvin somewhat provide company for solo players, but he offers helpful, time-saving resources even when in a group, putting a significant dent in the busy work of a survival game. This affords more time to either sculpt a masterpiece or plough forward on the cannibal killing quest. Calvin has a mind of his own though, well, at least to some degree. He sits down to rest when he gets tired and seeks water when he's thirsty. He'll also become upset if you treat him poorly, which makes him less productive and thus decreases the value as a companion. And if you decide you're not interested in having a worker bee along for the ride, you have the option to disable Calvin in the most realistic way possible. Shoot him in the head and you'll remove him from your session, permanently. You're limited to one Calvin per multiplayer session, so the dream of a legion of Calvins can't be fulfilled. But the developers assured me that there are other companions you can find as you progress, each with their own
That's
unique
interesting.
AI. During my playtime, I caught a glimpse of Virginia, a mutant with 3 arms and 3 legs. She quickly scampered once I approached her, and definitely had more of a skittish sensibility than Calvin. But the developers told me that she can eventually be recruited, and will become attached to you over time should you be kind to
what
her.
the fuck?
They compared her instincts to that
She's got
of an
3 arms, dude.
elusive and independent cat,
That's
which
just
stands
crazy
in
that you even have
opposition
her as
to
a
Calvin's
companion.
lovable and
Yeah.
obedient dog. The AI improvements aren't limited to just companions though. On our expedition we came across several groups of enemies, ranging from a cluster of cannibals to a mob of monstrosities, each demonstrating their own impressive decision-making abilities. It felt like my enemies were thinking and making active decisions based on
Oh, I
not
don't
only
like
my
that.
actions, but also their situations
Yeah, they would be
and
up in the trees in the
environment.
the
Particularly in
original one.
first-person horror games, enemies generally have 2 modes of behavior, patrol and attack. But in Sons of the Forest, some foes would just be extremely wary and just interested in watching what I do, while others would charge in aggressively, only to back down when things didn't go their way. I saw enemies
Calvin's out there
consoling their
fucking
fallen
murdering.
friends, changing
Yeah.
their clothes depending on the weather conditions, and even trying to destroy my newly erected home when my back was turned. It was clear to see that the enemy's brains were not only following coded rules, but also adapting their thoughts based on the external influences. The developers explained to me that certain enemies with leadership qualities can influence the decisions of others, and even promote
guy just
ideas in
took
their
that
ranks,
arrow.
such
Well,
as
they
religion,
ran.
and that each individual has their own tastes, desires, and proclivities. From my small
Jesus.
taste of Sons of the Forest, I didn't really get a sense of how deep this system is, and how much it'll affect your experience. But the teasers I saw filled my mind with dozens of possibilities. I saw enemies adapting to changing their ecosystem and weather conditions, which now cycle through seasons that change as you progress. I even accidentally triggered a war after I stupidly opened the entrance to the game's complex underground cave network and released a faction of mutants into the domain of another tribe. My simple decision caused their living space to change,
They're really
and
upping the
encouraging
ante
them
with
to
this.
adjust their focus. And after that little taste of chaos, I can't wait to see how flexible this system can be. As you'd expect, the titular forest makes a return, and it looks better than ever. From the complex density of foliage, to the gorgeous rainfall and beautifully lit cave stalactites amongst the hanging corpses and mutant fetuses, the graphical power on show here rivals the majority of AAA releases. It was a joy to explore without even the slightest hint of repetition in its design. With a tease of bunkers,
looks really
villages,
good.
and God knows what else in a
Yeah.
world that's promised to be 4 times larger than the original, I can easily see myself getting lost and then sidetracked in the wilderness for hours on end. But at its core, Sons of the Forest is a survival game, and so when you're not exploring, there's a good chance you're building. The construction tools have been significantly overhauled for the sequel. Gone are the floating blue ghost building blocks, replaced by a user-friendly, realistic presentation of wilderness carpentry. Instructions are more literal, and actions are contextual. Instead of just loading resources into a ghost version of the final product, you're now free to, with magnetic and snapping assistance, manually place logs and sticks in the direction that you'd like, allowing for a complete customization of your structure instead of following a predetermined design. My partner, Calvin, and I immediately set to work on building a lakeside domicile of our own, and what began as a traditional design immediately blossomed when we realized the only limitation was our imagination. You're working on every
wish
place
they
by
would show
hand,
it.
and thus the structural points present not only a
Yeah.
decision, but an opportunity for expression. I was informed that the option of the more traditional blueprint builds is still there for the purist, but I found the DIY construction far more appealing than the IKEA approach. Then,
That's
of course,
crazy.
there's the
That's pretty
optional
crazy.
story to
I've
follow.
never seen a game
From
do
the
that.
teasers in the trailers, this is implied to be bigger and perhaps even crazier than the original, and hopefully continues directly on from the Forest's cliffhanger. But amongst the time spent constructing and fighting off hordes of cannibals, I didn't really get a sense of how the story was going to go beyond the initial premise. It did feel very familiar to the story of the forest though, which I guess makes sense in the term of dropping players right into the action. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have concerns that it could potentially retread old ground. My hope is this simply serves as a jumping off point to go in some truly crazy directions, and it develops a narrative through line from the first game that still feels cohesive. But time will tell once I get my hands on the full game and manage to pull myself away from building a replica of the Ewok village and destroying the lives of the unsuspecting locals. Sons of the Forest appears to evolve and build on every aspect of its predecessor, with a focused goal of realism and developing a flexible ecosystem. And it feels like the building blocks are there to create something truly special. But its killer feature is the addition of impressively sophisticated and smarter AI enemies and companions that could not only provide a huge leap forward for the series, but the survival game
I'm just
genre
glad
as
this
a
actually
whole.
seems like a sequel. Like it actually seems like they've advanced like everything.
And if you like that video and want to find out more about Sons of the Forest, why not check out everything that we know so far?
If you like that video. All right. Well, what do we think of Sons of the Forest?
I mean, like the first game, it's really good looking. I kind of expected that. What I didn't expect was the AI companion for one. I don't know if I can think of another survival game that even has that.
I played one that you have during the story, an NPC who hangs out and just kind of talks while you do the rest of the stuff, but not in an interactive way where you're giving them instructions and they follow it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like even like for example, like Conan, you can acquire people to essentially be buffs. But they don't really like perform tasks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer, right? Like, it's neat for the system for the game, but at the same time, I kind of wish you could be like, okay, now that I have unlocked this NPC or whatever, now you take care of the crops, and I don't have to have that extra responsibility all the time now, type of thing. So, so I like the idea of that because it allows you to essentially conquer the terrain a little easier. So yeah, I like the idea of that. I also kind of like how he's basically mute, right? Is that what they said? Which is an interesting idea. It's also easier for them. They don't have to make dialogue.
I don't think he's hearing either because the way you're giving him commands is on a notepad, like you're making him read it. See that?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if a way for them to not have to program him talking to you and have full dialogue and all that stuff is just say like, well, he got injured during the crash or whatever the hell happened, and he can't hear or speak.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I also noticed when they were chopping down a tree, the way that the tree was coming apart when it was being chopped was crazy looking. I don't think I've seen that either. Like usually there's like stages you go through, and that was just like chunks flying out as you're cutting through, which was really interesting to see. The building being fully customizable is reminiscent but way more advanced in appearance to something like Minecraft, because that's really kind of Minecraft's biggest appeal is the imagination to build things. A lot of survival games use blueprints or like snapping, points and stuff like that. And I like that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but having full freedom of movement and placing of blocks and adjusting sizes and stuff like that, I don't think I've seen that either. So
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, especially seeing like to make a window. He was like putting the logs down and then chopping the window out of the wall.
yeah, which I think is cool as hell. It just sucks because there's no chance I'm playing this. So yeah,
Unless they release a mode where there's no mutants, which would kind of defeat the purpose, or somebody makes a mod.
yeah, and that's gonna get old quick.
Or if you want
'cause,
to play with 7 other people.
yeah, I still got to deal with the creepy shit that I don't want to deal with. So
Yep, especially if you go out adventuring or you stay behind while other people go, like these guys will just show up randomly.
yeah, and I don't want to deal with that. So
Yeah.
like him climbing up the tree, like no
Yeah.
thanks. Like I hate that. It's very reminiscent of like when there's spiders in games. I'm like, nope, hate it, creepy. So, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, it looks cool.
That lighting's really impressive too. And that last shot, like it you can actually see like all the leaf shadows like on the rest of the foliage, and then like the tree lines and stuff like that from the trees.
Well, even at some point, like, he's like spearfishing or whatever, and the way the rain is hitting the water while also still being slightly reflective and slightly see through, like it was really good looking. So, yeah, very cool looking. Sucks that it's not gonna be my genre, basically.
Yeah.
Subgenre. I don't even know how to say that. I don't like horror games. I love survival games, though.
It's funny too because when I originally played The Forest back when it came out, I was like, I feel like Chevy would like this if it didn't have the mutants.
Yeah.
Because they like climb trees, they'll ambush you, they'll like be across the field looking at you, and they're like, you'll see some of them run off to the sides or trying to flank you.
Yeah, I
Or they'll,
remember
like,
you
come-
saying like you'd have a torch out and they'd just be like at the edge of the light,
Yep.
staring in and stuff.
Yeah, or they'll like come crawling at you really quick too, and it's fucking it's a little nerve wracking, but I enjoy it, and definitely makes you not feel bad when you have to hit him with an axe or shoot him. But yeah, overall, I'm even more impressed than the last time I saw this game. It's looking really good graphically. We've already mentioned that a couple times, but like it's really impressive with how good this game looks. The advanced systems in AI is really exciting for me because this is something that I feel like more and more people they should be pushing and they're not. I think one of the biggest pushes for AI, and this is an indie game, but like one of the biggest pushes for AI in gaming lately has been like Naughty Dog with The Last of Us Part 2. Outside of that, everyone just has like these pretty run-of-the-mill AI systems when I feel like you could really push that to something even further. I remember back in the day when Fear came out and like the squads you fought had these really advanced scripting to their AI that would make them almost seem like they're trying to survive the combat encounter. They would like try and run away sometimes, stuff like that. And you don't see much of that anymore outside of Grand Theft Auto 5 came out a long time ago. Red Dead Redemption 2, and then Last of Us Part 2. It's not a thing that people really think about as much anymore as I wish they would. So seeing an indie game create an NPC that you're going to be able to command and tell what to do, but also reacts to its environment, rests, has to drink water, stuff like that, is really ambitious.
Be treated well.
Yeah, be treated well is really ambitious and really cool. But then also advancing the AI of the enemies in a game like this is also super promising because in the first game they were able to, at least early on before you really played the game and understood how everything works, convince you that these guys were like sneaking up on you and trying to ambush you, and they seemed kind of advanced. Like they were like hesitant to attack you sometimes, and then other times they would attack you. So in this, having them actually seem like they're actually thinking about things as it's happening, really cool. I'm gonna have to experience it to know how that feels, but you can tell definitely even right here in this footage we're looking at that all the enemies had different behaviors. They weren't all just standing there doing the same movements or whatever. Like they're all doing completely different things, which is really cool. I also like that they said there's like a leader system, so somebody might compel the others to do something that if they weren't around, they might not do. So that's really cool. I think that's what you're talking about, the water.
It was,
Yeah. The building system sounds really cool as well. I'll have to feel how that feels. I think it's interesting too that he said that for people who want like the blueprint thing, they're gonna have an option for that to feel more traditional. And that system's fine. I liked it in the original Forest, but I do like a little more freedom. I want to be able to build the way I want to build.
Yeah.
So I definitely am excited for what they're doing with this. Also, the seasons is really neat as well. That's something that some games have kind of played with a little bit, and I always want more games to do that. I love the idea of a place you've gotten used to seeing over and over again, eventually going to fall, to winter, to summer, stuff like that. It's really neat. So that this is doing that is really cool. And then the last thing I'll mention, going back to the companion system, I think it's really interesting that you can get other companions, including one being a mutant. That's kind of fascinating to me.
Well, and they said there'd be even more too. So
Yeah. And we saw in the footage of the girl with like the multiple arms, and she was holding like multiple guns. Like,
you had 2 hands for a shotgun or a rifle or something like that, and 1 for a pistol.
yeah.
Yeah.
So really creative, really fun, really interesting that they're even doing that. So kind of love that. And overall, I'm really excited for this game. This is definitely up my alley. This is definitely a game that if you would have told me they're just like making a sequel to The Forest, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll pick it up when it comes out. I love the first one. But this is above and beyond what I expected from them. So hopefully they can deliver on what they're showing, what they're promising, and if it's even slightly better than the last one, I'll be happy. But this looks like it's going to be much better than the first game. So really excited for that, and can't wait to play multiplayer, because that's something that came out later for the original one too, which is interesting. That was an early access game that they were kind of like rolling out and adding more features and all that stuff, and then eventually they added multiplayer. And I had played most of the game before the multiplayer came out. I did try the multiplayer later, but
Hey, you played with Josh, didn't you?
Cody? Josh, maybe. One of those two.
Yeah.
And I'd actually be willing to try it again, but the majority of the game that I played was single player. So I am glad that with this, they're already talking about playing with multiple people, or playing with an NPC, stuff like that. There's less of an alone feeling you're going to get from this game. Although having one NPC with you is not going to feel that safe, unless Calvin's just a straight up murderer, which I feel like he's going to be. He's very robotic, so I feel like he's going to be pretty proficient at combat. Or
It's going to help with the loneliness feel, though.
yeah. It'll just feel better, more immersive. Feel like you have choices that are happening, which I think is really cool. So. But yeah, all in all, really great presentation, really great features that they're talking about, and I can't wait to play this. Anything else you want to say on it?
Well, I just want to see someone make a survival game that has robust systems, but
No horror
no
elements.
horror. Yeah.
Yeah, just like back in the day, I wanted you to play DayZ, but that game's like fucking terrifying. So I knew you wouldn't play it, but it has like really advanced systems that I think you would appreciate. It's funny how they put all those systems in the games where there's things trying to kill you.
You're not too opposed to the killing part. It's not like the I don't want to be jump scared. I
Yeah.
hate jump scares. So
Yeah, I get that. All right, well, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Sons of the Forest exclusive hands-on preview. What did you notice in this that we maybe didn't talk about? What are you most excited about? Did you play the last game? And what's something you hope from this game that'll give us that maybe they didn't say anything on? Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Sons of the Forest. All right, we're going to do a quick kind of skim through all the most anticipated games of 2023. We're in a new year, and there's a whole new list of games coming out this year. We already went over January, and yeah, there's definitely some really big titles coming out throughout the year, though. So yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to go down the list. Off the top of my head, though, in case you're curious, some of my most anticipated games, I'll just say right now, Sons of the Forest, I think is one of my most anticipated games. So really excited for that. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl is definitely one of my most anticipated games for 2023. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon is 100% probably my most anticipated game. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I want it to be good. I'm just excited that it is coming out. And then I'm really looking forward to Atomic Heart. The game is so insane looking that I feel like it's either going to be like a masterpiece or it's going to be forgettable, but it doesn't look like it's going to be forgettable.
Well, I'd say TikTok got their hands on that one because everyone on TikTok that I, at least in my algorithm, is like hyping the hell out of that game now. So,
I mean, it looks kind of undeniable. The more I see on it, the better it looks. So, definitely one of my most anticipated. And then one of my other most anticipated is Final Fantasy 16. Really looking forward to that. And then I'm really curious about Hogwarts Legacy.
oh yeah.
People are talking about that right now. I know it's getting kind of review bombed on Steam, or no, people are adding tags to it on Steam that say like that it's like. Have you been following in the drama around the game?
No.
We're not gonna get into it, but yeah, people are really attacking the shell of that game. People are saying Gamergate 2.0 is starting right now because game journalists are trying to assassinate the game, and the game is like already sold really well on Steam, and people are like, I'm gonna buy like 5 copies now. So there's an obvious push to try and assassinate the game before it comes out, but people aren't having it because I'm not even a Harry Potter guy, but it's like the dream. If you're a Harry Potter fan, this is the game you've been waiting for. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to convince people that they don't want to play that game. So,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, those are some of the off the top of my head. Starfield as well. I'm strongly curious about. I can't say it's my most anticipated because it's Bethesda, but I want it to be good. I'll say it that way. So, you have anything off the top of your head you want to say before we go through the list?
Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7, Part 2. I don't remember what it's called.
Rebirth?
Yeah. No, I don't know what it's called. Whatever the second one is.
It's something.
Get tired of trying to remember every fucking 7-word Japanese title game, but
True.
yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. Atomic Heart I am interested in because it does like it kind of gives me big time like BioShock vibes, not necessarily like thematically but like in visual style, I guess. Was there anything else? I'm sure there is. I'm drawing a huge blank right now.
Oh, Alan Wake 2. I'm really excited for.
Oh, Armored Core 6. Yeah, I want to play that too. So
Also, this says Spider-Man 2. We'll get there eventually, but if that does come out this year, I will be excited for that as well because I think the last Spider-Man game was really well done.
mine's still in cellophane.
Yeah. No, that's Miles Morales.
Whatever.
You didn't play the Spider-Man game?
I played a little bit.
Okay. So let's just go through the list real quick, even though we named off all the big ones already. Yeah, so in January we got Fire Emblem Engage. We both said that we're both interested in that for sure. Forspoken, I'm going to be picking up. I feel like you'll probably pick it up.
Probably.
So those are definitely anticipated. Dead Space we were talked about. I'm going to pick it up for sure. Then in February we get Hogwarts Legacy finally. I think I'm definitely going to be picking that up.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested myself. I do want to wait and see, I guess, what people are saying about it when it comes out, but it looks good. So.
Yeah, and just as like a third-person AAA wizard simulator game, I'm like, there's no game like this.
Yeah, for sure.
No game exists like this game, so like I have to play it. It's like really neat looking.
Yeah, it looks neat.
Especially when they showed off the customization of like your room and like
Yeah.
that you're gonna be able to like freely go around and fly around and shit. I'm like, that's pretty crazy. They're doing a lot with it, so definitely anticipating coming out really soon. Next we got Wild Hearts. I think we're both kind of like,
Yeah, I'm so on the fence on that one.
yeah. I feel like it's gonna be decent. I just don't. It's not Monster Hunter, so it's like it feels like Monster Hunter light, but not in the same way that like Dauntless did. So
Yeah, we'll see.
it's a little more robust, but we'll see. Yeah, definitely. Atomic Heart, we just talked about that.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of my most anticipated. You brought it up, so pretty much is yours as well. Horizon Call of the Mountain is the VR game coming out for PSVR 2. You got yours locked in, right?
Yeah.
your
I have to pay for it next month, but yeah.
yeah. That thing's looking fucking sick. I watched a video on it.
I watched
It
someone
seems
use it, yeah.
it seems pretty high end.
The
Which is
only
pretty
complaint the dude had, he had a few complaints, and a couple of them I just like shook my head. Like he said, it has a wire, right? And I'm like, okay, that's not something I'm worried about.
See the new Vive?
I saw them talk about it, but I didn't.
It's essentially goggles with a battery pack on the back of your head and a single cord that goes in the battery pack.
Oh, okay. I think that's what the new Quest is like, too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I just wonder if it's like high quality or not. It's supposed to have 4K visuals and everything. But
That's what the PSVRs is as well.
I just don't know if it's
Interesting.
like, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of crazy. I was like, that's just
That's a huge jump happening right now in VR. It's
yeah,
crazy.
everyone all at once. Everybody's like, "Wow, that was a fad." I'm like,
Also,
apparently not.
eye tracking being in these things is great, especially like in a multiplayer settings, because you're
Social
gonna be able
stuff,
to like read people's faces and stuff like that. Super cool. So, I'm into it.
Yeah, really cool stuff. We're definitely pro VR around here, but when it comes to Horizon Call of the Mountain, it's looking cool. It's looking like the experience, like oh god, what's that Astrobot game you got with the PS5?
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of
PSVR?
that. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that for the PSVR. Like that's gonna be their showcase game. So
Yeah.
Company of Heroes 3, I played the first game. It was okay. I don't know if I got anticipation for this, but I know that people love Company of Heroes, so it's cool you're getting a third one. You got any thoughts on that? It's the World War II RTS.
Who makes it?
Sega, I think.
Oh, I have no idea about this one.
You don't know about Company of Heroes?
I mean, I've heard the name, but I've never seen it.
Very interesting. Sons of the Forest we've talked about. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely a anticipated game for me. Kerbal Space Program 2.
Had no
I
idea.
couldn't get into the first one because you have to be an actual scientist to play that game, and I'm not. So
Or just keep trying to
Yeah.
succeed. Yeah.
yeah, every once in a while I hear somebody go like, "Oh, this little kid I know like plays that game a lot." I'm like, "That kid's a baby genius, dude. You need to fucking make sure that kid goes to college." But I'll probably check it out. I checked out the first game. I was like, I don't have the time to sit here and play with actual physics like this. Octopath Traveler 2, I'm sure you're anticipating.
Yeah, man, I need to beat the first one. I got like a good way through it and then distracted by other games, but I'm glad it's getting another game because the first one I hope was a show to Square that turn-based isn't dead, though maybe not as popular because more people definitely prefer action games. But I'm glad they're not just ignoring the people who do like it. So,
Yeah, agreed. Real quick, just kind of looking that this is all February. I'm thinking January has games I want to pick up. February has games I want to pick up. It seems like, and a lot of games that were supposed to come out in 2022 got pushed back to 2023 as well.
Yeah,
So it's like
imagine
an
that.
extension of last year, which is really kind of daunting.
true.
I'm curious about Octopath Traveler 2. I don't have any like big hype for it. I think the original looked really cool. I never played it, so but it looks really awesome, and I love that they're making games like this. So for that alone, I kind of feel like I should pick it up. Let's move on to March. We got The Day Before, which is finally, hopefully, coming out. I know a lot of people think this is a fake game. I think it's gonna come out. They should keep showing more and more on it, and if it is what they're showing, I'm probably gonna love it. So I'm hoping they can deliver. Do you know what The Day Before is?
No, I'm reading it. I was reading it while
It's
you were
a
talking.
post-apocalyptic multiplayer game that looks like The Division visually, but it's like an online like survival game.
With Animal Crossing base building?
Yeah, it looks really
I feel
cool.
like- did we watch a video
Yeah,
of this?
long time ago.
I'll have to revisit a video. 'Cause
It's been a long ongoing project, and when they first showed it off, the graphics looked like unreal. It's like it started off they're like driving through the mud, and they're actually leaving like tire tracks through the mud and stuff, and they stop at like a diner. They're like going through there, like scavenging through stuff, and then like some of the newer footage they're showing like this giant fucking mall they're in, and then like a city that they're in. Like it's really crazy looking.
I think I remember the mall scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it looks like The Division in the sense that it's like kind of over the shoulder, third person shooter. It's if it is even remotely close to what they've showed, like it's going to be really popular.
Huh.
But if it comes out and has even one little problem, people are going to go nuts because there's been like this really strong campaign of like this game's fake, like this is a scam, blah blah blah. So people are like ready to destroy this game. But we'll see because if it does come out and has problems, or they shortchange it at all, yeah, well they did that to themselves. So
For sure.
a lot riding on this game though. I hope it's really good, and it would be one of my most anticipated, but I don't know. There's a lot of mystery in the air. So anyway, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, definitely interested. It looks a lot like Neo. I love Neo, but I haven't really seen anything that really differentiates it too much outside of the Chinese theming, which is definitely refreshing and interesting and cool. But I'm gonna play it for sure. Like I'm gonna buy it day one, but I kind of know what I'm getting into with this a little bit, so like not my hype isn't like insane.
Also, I don't know if I have any hype. It's definitely going to be something that I'm just kind of wait and see.
Yeah. But what they did with Neo 2, fantastic games. So
Yeah.
I'm very confident in this game. Moving on, we got Skull and Bones.
Hard pass.
We'll see if it finally comes out. I think I'm gonna try it, but it's not. I'm confused on why. Why are they making this, and why is it coming out now, and why did they delay it so many times and redo it so many times, and then they're releasing it and it's like just the ship combat from Assassin's Creed and nothing more, and everybody who watched the video was like, you can't get off the ship. I'm okay with that, but like the average person seems to not be okay with that, so it's kind of crazy they made that decision, especially with games like Sea of Thieves out there. They could have definitely
and it doesn't need to
rivaled it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a blatant rip-off of that, but
Yeah.
like huge missed opportunity, I think. Because like the biggest, like I think Sea of Thieves is fun, but the biggest turnoff of Sea of Thieves for me is it's a little too open world, right? There's not enough for me. I need to emphasize that. I get, if I don't have someone basically going, hey, go do that, I play the game for a week and I'm done. So
I love the experience of Sea of Thieves in the sense of like the sandbox, the friends, all stuff, but like cosmetics is not enough to keep me coming back to a game.
yeah, and I don't like that visual style at all. So
I'm okay with it, but if there's like some kind of tangible upgrades in the game in any way, I think I'd be more pulled to playing it, because I think otherwise, like I've had some really good times in that game. It's definitely a game.
It's fun for sure. Yeah.
But like I can't just keep doing those same activities to
Over and
get
over
some new
again.
pants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It seems to be missing something to keep me playing it.
Yep, just like one thing it's missing.
Yeah.
So, but Skull and Bones seems to be missing a lot of things. So,
The one part everyone wants, which is to be the pirate itself.
yeah. Well, you're gonna be able to dress up your pirate, but I guess you're just
So you
gonna
can look at them?
Yeah, I think so. So anyway, you're not sold.
Not even a little.
I am curious to see if the game's going to be okay or a surprise hit or bad. So, Bayonetta Origins, Syriza, and the Lost Demon. This is that game we saw that tonally was completely different than Bayonetta. We're surprised that they were even making it. I'm not a Bayonetta fan, but I think it's
Same.
really neat that they're doing this. But on that, I can't be stoked for it. So
You have no history with the series. So.
you know, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We are going to be playing, or maybe we are playing already, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order this month, and so I'm gonna allow myself to see if I'm excited for this game after playing this, because we watched the trailer. I actually thought it looked really cool, but I haven't played the game that comes before it, so it's hard for me to be hyped about a sequel when I haven't even played the original game. But it's Respawn, so that alone makes me interested. Star Wars sadly doesn't anymore. But yeah, definitely curious. I'm just gonna have to wait till I beat Fallen Order.
I feel like I'm going to have a hard time commenting on this and not ruining maybe some of the stuff I might have to say later in the month as well. So
that's fair.
I will reserve my commentary.
Yeah. One of my most anticipated games of 2023 is definitely Resident Evil 4 Remake. Though it is just a remake, it looks like a pretty substantial remake. Definitely prioritize other games, but it's definitely a game I really want to play. So, big hype for me on this one.
I mean, I don't play Resident Evil, but I appreciate them, and I am excited for people because I know a lot of people like this game. So,
yeah. Crime Boss Rockay City.
what?
You remember the trailer at the Game Awards? Had Michael Madsen and a bunch of other
I got the
people.
memory of a goldfish these days. No,
I think it. I watched gameplay of it, and it almost looks like Payday 2, but in like I don't know. The mission structure seemed like Payday 2.
I remember the actors being at
Yeah,
the Game Awards and being related to a game.
It's got a bunch of people in the game that
Completely lost it.
essentially just need some money. Like there's like this cheap factor to the game, it feels like. So, and a lot of these guys are probably sitting around just kind of waiting for someone to ask them to be in something.
Ouch.
This is a game that's either going to be comically stupid or awesome in the worst way possible. So I have no hype for it, but when it comes out, if I hear good things about it, I'll definitely check it out. System Shock Remake. I'll be curious. I haven't seen anything on it really, but
That's an old game.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think there's a teaser that I saw for it, but I don't think I've seen gameplay. But I'll be curious, but I can't really speak on it right now because I don't know anything about it. Apparently, it's coming out soon though, so maybe there is gameplay
Yeah,
that I haven't seen.
It says there obviously, but it's like a predecessor basically to like BioShock. So
What is this? Other notable Q1 2023 games: One Piece, Like a Dragon, Ishin, which I'm really excited about.
oh yeah,
Finally getting to play that. Kirby's Return to Dreamland, Darkest Dungeon 2. Never played the first one, but I heard great things.
It's pretty good.
Amnesia the Bunker, I'm actually really excited about. That looks awesome. Flintlock, don't know what that is. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, definitely curious about that. It looks kind of cool. Layers of Fear, there's already a Layers of Fear, so I'm curious on what they're doing with that. Season, A Letter to the Future.
That's the second time that's been mentioned in this episode.
And Witchfire. So there's some notable games.
Season what?
Season, A Letter to the Future.
Okay.
April, we got Dead Island 2. I'm actually really excited for Dead Island 2. I like the first game, even though it's got a lot of jank to it. This game's been delayed, but when I saw the gameplay reveal for it, it looks way better than I thought it was going to look. So I'm definitely excited for this. I'm definitely excited to play some co-op with people. And I'm curious to see what's going to keep this game alive and differentiate it from what I would say is the superior game, Dying Light, as a series. Dead Island happened, then Dying Light happened, and I was like, so it's Dead Island with parkour, but it's a little bit more. But Dying Light 2 is definitely kind of made the series grow in a way that I'm like, okay, we don't really need Dead Island. But then seeing this, I'm like, nah, it still has a place. It still looks cool. So I'm definitely anticipating it. You probably have nothing for it.
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. In May, we got The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the game that I made a TikTok about, like the games I most anticipate. And so many people were like, you didn't say Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I didn't say that. I know I didn't say it. I want to see it. I'm curious about what it looks like, more than what they've shown already. I'm not the biggest Zelda guy, which I know is like blasphemy in gaming, but like, I like Zelda. I don't dislike it. I'm just not like a huge fan. There's definitely some good ones, and I think the last one was pretty good. I hated the durability system, but I'm sure they will fix that in this or change that up, because that was like the biggest thing you heard anyone complain about was swinging a weapon 3 times and it just breaks in your hand.
Though I have heard, and this is for similar reasons that people like Elden Ring, the open world nature of it doesn't feel wasted. So,
Well, Elden Ring's open world is actually heavily inspired by the last Zelda game.
yeah, and that makes sense if people are comparing them anyway. So, interesting.
So yeah, I'll wait and see, but I'm not super stoked. Although one thing that's really interesting, somebody was talking about this recently. I forget who it was. Maybe it was an analyst. I don't remember who it was, but they were saying that people are keeping an eye on Nintendo right now because this is the last game of like AAA development that they have announced. So people are like, what's coming next? So people are thinking that this year or next year they're going to announce a new console.
New hardware, yeah.
Yeah. Which I think they should do, unless they got bigger, cooler ideas than what I got, they just need to have an upgraded Switch. I think the Switch is like perfect.
Yeah.
It just needs to be
I don't think
better.
I'm done with the Switch. So that'd be, but I don't know what they got going on. So
Yeah.
all I can do is keep my thoughts in what I know. So.
They should just make a Switch 2 with maybe better ergonomics, better sticks, better hardware, but still the same principle because it's genius. But then better hardware, so you get better looking games. It's been a while now. They could put better stuff in there, but 100% be able to play all your games from Switch.
I will be extremely disappointed if they don't kind of stay in theme in the direction they've gone, because
It's perfect.
I feel like them kind of tackling this both home console and portable console thing is fantastic, and the other two aren't doing it. So.
I literally think the Switch is the culmination of their pursuit in mobile gaming and all their consoles before the Switch.
Yeah, it's great.
All the experiments they did with the Wii, the Wii U, even the 64, everything just kind of led to this like super smart console that does like a little bit of everything they've done before, but in a way that's not gimmicky feeling.
No, it feels great.
It's just there as a feature if you want to use it. It's really smart. So, yeah, I would hate to see them like just release some like, GameCube 2, where it's just like a normal console that's just like a cube but more powerful. I'm like, no. Go back to like what you had with the Switch. That was the shit. Like, yeah. Anyway, and I think they'll do that. So we will see. Let's see. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I know you got big hype for that one. I do, only because of Rocksteady, who made the Arkham trilogy, and so they're like a really fucking high caliber, high quality dev. I don't have a whole lot of love for anything comic books now anymore because I'm pretty fatigued on it, but also Suicide Squad stuff is fun enough, but it's not the pull. Rocksteady is, and I want to play a new Rocksteady game, so I am definitely anticipating this. Hope it's great. Street Fighter 6 in June.
Yes.
Yeah, I've slowly become more and more interested in this. I've kind of accepted that I'm like not a Street Fighter guy. Always try to convince myself I was a Street Fighter guy. Every time I play it, I'm like, I'm not a Street Fighter guy. I'm not. I can't get into these.
I literally just keep hearing this from people who play Street Fighter 2.
The best he's ever played. I watching the gameplay, I was like,
Yeah.
it looks like it's come a long way. It looks like they're adding new features, a bunch of brand new stuff. Graphics are fantastic.
Player mode.
Yeah.
Like,
It's looking like the total package. It's looking like they're making up for, all the negative launches they've had with the last like 2 Street Fighters when they first come out. People complain about them. So yeah, it's looking like the real deal, and I'm really excited for it. So, Diablo 4. No Diablo 4. I want to play it. Some people who played it early said that it's really good, that they're really excited about it, and they think people are going to love it. But my problem is they're moving towards this like MMO inspired online experience, which I don't think is what Diablo should be, as like a games as a service. But also playing Diablo Immortal and seeing how blatantly forward they were with how they wanted to monetize that game in the lamest way possible only tells me that they are capable of doing that in a game. And if I get like even a whiff of them doing that in Diablo 4, I won't play it. There are so many things that are just like, oh, just do this to stay busy and we'll reward you with shit that doesn't matter. If you're doing that Diablo 4, I would not play it. And I don't trust fucking Blizzard anymore. So anyway, I want Diablo 4 to be good, and I feel like I should be really hyped for it. And if it's really good, I feel like I kind of am hyped for that. But I'm also reserving myself to go like there's a good chance it's not going to be as good as it could be. So we'll see. Final Fantasy 16, I think we're both really excited for. every trailer we've seen have just been better and better, big, epic, awesome looking. Gameplay's looking great, graphics look great, story looks interesting. So yeah, it'll be day one. for me as well. So
Yeah,
definitely
those
excited.
sucks because, and it says there at the bottom, 6 months after it comes out, the exclusivity goes away, which means it'll be on PC in November. But
You gonna wait it out?
no,
Yeah, I'm not either. Just buy it twice.
I'm
It's
not
so
doing
if it's
it. I'm not doing
if it's good enough, buy it twice. Support it. All right. Let's see. In spring 2023 games, it's not. Oh,
It's kind of like earlier where I said like first quarter
yeah.
mentions or whatever.
So Forza Motorsport will be coming out. I'm definitely curious about it. Forza is definitely a good competitor to Gran Turismo.
This is like their main number ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've not been a big fan of Motorsport, but the Horizon series is really good. So
True.
that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to Forza. But this is a new one. I want to see what they're bringing to the table, and what kind of quality they can bring, what kind of experience they can bring, and if it'll feel like the racing sim that I always kind of wished Forza would be, and not be this weird middle ground between arcade racer and sim. But we'll see. Minecraft Legends. What did you think of Forza? Whatever. You just whatever about it?
No, I'm not interested. Yeah.
Okay. What about Minecraft Legends?
I thought that looked okay. Obviously, I have to wait for that one to come out, though. Because it was kind of the same with the last one they did.
Dungeons?
Dungeons, which I heard good things about, but I also heard, like, it's really short. And not, like, super in-depth.
It's not deep, but it was better than it should have been. Yeah. So, like, it's a weird thing. But, yeah, this is one of the situations I'll wait and see what people say about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. We got Hollow Knight Silk Song. I thought the first one was okay. I didn't play it a whole lot, but
I was like, people love that game.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't got any hype for it, but I'm sure I'll play it on PlayStation Plus at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Homeworld 3 I definitely want to play. I only recently played, I think I played Homeworld 2 for the first time like in 2020. And I was really impressed with it for how old it was. So definitely looking forward to Homeworld 3. Yeah. Did you ever play Homeworld? It's a space RTS. It's done really well. I like the way that they handle movement through space in different directions and stuff. It's not just like, it's like a flat plane, but it's like layered through. So you can like move your guys up and
I've
down.
seen it before, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't have any issues with it. It just doesn't really have like a pull for me, I guess. So.
I guess Homeworld and Homeworld World 2 have like really good stories too. I didn't play Homeworld 2 enough to get through it, but
yeah,
I've heard that before. Redfall is a game that here's where I'm at with it. I definitely am going to play it when it comes out because it's my kind of game. It's a up to 4-player cooperative shooter. We're going to be running around kind of like a Far Cry-esque like system where you're going from place to place, capturing places, stuff like that. Definitely right up my alley. Everything I've seen on it, though, I think my biggest hang-up on the game is the enemies seem kind of samey, repetitive, and their movements are super predictable, which is not that exciting. But I think that they're, getting away from zombies and trying to do vampires is at least them trying to do something. I think the people behind the game, Arcane, are definitely talented. They've made some great games, so it's hard for me to believe that Redfall would be any different. But watching trailers on it and gameplay, it hasn't built hype. It's going to be one of those situations like Rainbow Six Extraction just kind of came out. It was on Game Pass. I played it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best thing ever. I kind of feel like it's going to be something like that, but better probably.
Pass.
Stalker 2 Hard Chernobyl is probably top 2, top 3 most anticipated games for. I think for me, honestly, it's Armored Core 6 is my most anticipated. My second is probably Stalker 2. Third, Alan Wake 2 if it comes out in 2023. I thought it's supposed to, but maybe it's not. I'm not seeing it on here. But
I'm only halfway down the page, so
yeah. But Alan Wake 2 is like huge for me as well. But there's so many good games coming out this year. But Stalker 2 is like, I watched the last trailer and I was just like, holy shit, it looks amazing. Like I can't. It's the sequel I want. Any thoughts? You didn't play the first Stalker.
So it's not in my wheelhouse, so I don't have any strong opinions one way or the other.
Fair. So let's talk about Starfield.
I'm gonna make people mad, but pass. I don't really like Bethesda, so I won't be playing it.
Okay. I'm in a similar thought process of my criticism of Bethesda, a company that I once loved a lot. Kind of lost that love for them with a lot of their games that are churning out that felt same. I want them to have a renaissance. I want them to get back to what made their games special, and Starfield has to be that. And if it's not, I'm just going to be like business as usual, and it's not going to do anything to help my view of Bethesda. Watching the gameplay, some of it did kind of just seem like more Bethesda type games. They definitely have a thing they do, but a couple things seem promising, like the ship customization, which is really cool. The amount of planets you can be able to go to, I'm really curious how they're going to handle that. But the biggest thing for me, and kind of still my positive view of what Bethesda has brought to this genre, is there are still not a whole lot of games that have as much choice in them as a Bethesda game. Even if the gameplay has gotten kind of stale because it's the same engine they've been using since fucking 1908, they still try and emphasize that you can walk up to any NPC and have an adventure based off that, and you can make choices that will change how outcomes happen. The idea of having that Bethesda experience in space doesn't exist to that capacity. So I'm hoping they can nail it and bring it with this game, because I need something to get me excited for Elder Scrolls, the next Elder Scrolls, because I don't want to be disappointed again. So yeah. Anyway, I'm optimistic with Starfield. I'll keep it there, but I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm hyped. I want it to be good though. Let's see. Other notable first half 2023 games: Star Trek Resurgence, Atlas Fallen, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, Planet of Lana, Aura, History, and Nightingale. Nightingale is definitely one of my most hyped games of 2023, especially in the multiplayer department. That game looks fucking awesome. I love survival games, and this has a very unique visual style and some really cool gameplay mechanics, like being able to float around with an umbrella, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that one looked interesting.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. It's right up my alley, and I do really like the style. Okay, summer 2023 games. We got The Expanse, a Telltale series. We'll see. I don't really have any opinion on The Expanse, but Telltale being back is cool. I'm more interested in The Wolf Among Us 2 coming out, but this is cool. Anything you want to add?
I mean, the property does nothing for me, but
Yeah.
I am looking forward to Telltale bringing out story games again.
Yeah. Let's see. Alan Wake 2, one of my most hyped games for sure. So very excited for that. Can't wait for it. This is a game that they've been talking about for years, talking about that they want to make a sequel, but they can't. Want to make a sequel, but they can't. And finally, they were able to. I forgot what the hiccup was. It was like a rights thing or something. They were able to get it though because they hinted at it in Control, which is so cool. And now that we're getting it, I love the original Alan Wake, so I can't wait to play this. You didn't play Alan Wake?
No, it's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Ark 2, you played Ark plenty.
I did. I'm hopeful that it'll be really good. Unfortunately, the only thing I know about this game is that Vin Diesel's the advertisement for it. So
How fucking weird is it that they advertised it a while ago? It's Ark 2, and they haven't really showed gameplay. They haven't my big thing is there's so much content in Ark, and it does look a little dated now. But if you're gonna make a sequel, what are you bringing to the table?
yeah,
They'll support it for sure, like they did with Ark. But man, how are you gonna get people to hop ship from Ark to Ark 2? What features are you bringing? I guess it says Ark 2 makes improvements to getting around with the ability to mantle, free climb, slide, swing, and yes, ride dinosaurs through a primeval world. A lot of that sounds like Ark.
yeah. The biggest improvement I want to see, especially after playing a shit ton of Ark in last year, The building is very limited because it has to be like a flat surface that you build on, and that needs to not be a thing.
Yeah, it needs better building for sure.
So.
I kind of like playing around with those limitations on building in games, but I would just prefer it be better.
Yeah.
So
Other than that, I love Ark, so I have hopes and hesitation with this one because it's coming out and I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's coming out this year in summer, and we haven't seen shit on it.
yeah,
But I feel like when they're ready to show it, they're gonna do like a big gameplay
I hope so.
video on it. So
Yeah, I need to get in, finish one of the maps in Ark 1, but that game's so time consuming.
yeah.
So
Yeah, when Arc 2 comes out, though, I'll be playing it day one unless they show gameplay of it and it looks like shit. But I doubt that. It made plenty of money. They got their formula down. They got the experience with Arc. They're gonna be able to do just great with Arc 2. So yeah. My most anticipated game for 2023 is Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon. This is a long time coming for me. I'm so excited for this. And if they don't deliver on it, I'm gonna be so disappointed. But if they knock it out of the park, I'm going to be so happy because the only Armored Core I didn't like was 5, and that was the last Armored Core. It's like it was almost like it was like winding down anyway. They're like, well, we'll just make this, and then it wasn't good. They're like, well, fuck it. Maybe people don't like that game anymore. It's like, no, he's made a bad one. So yeah, hopefully they can return to form. Hopefully they can add more than ever. Hopefully they can maintain that Armored Core feel. They already came out and said this is not going to be a Souls-like game. This is going to be a straight-up Armored Core game, which is exactly what I needed to hear. And that trailer, holy shit,
yeah, it's good.
was too good. Like I haven't even seen gameplay. And I'm like, yeah, it's my most hyped game. I don't even know what the fuck the game looks like. Well, actually, that's not true. In January of last year, I covered the leaks. I've seen what the game looks like, but that was pretty early. But what I saw from those leaks looked like Armored Core gameplay wise. So, yeah, I hope they can deliver an awesome single player story. With co-op would be even cooler. An arena mode where you can fight against NPCs and go through all of the
Like the old PS2
competitors. Multiplayer against friends with online, and then some kind of co-op mode. That would, if they could nail that, and customization, crazy customization. If they can nail that, I will be so happy. Big epic fights, cool music. They already got that nailed in the trailer. They're gonna nail that with this. Yeah, the potential is like so huge. So I hope they don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
But From Software is just like, they've just done better and better and better and better. So their trajectory, I have no reason to be worried.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the same page. I didn't play 5. I think I kind of barely played 4, but I definitely played 1, 2, and 3. So
4 was amazing. It's so sad that 4 was that good, and then they just...
Was that on Xbox? Is that...
It was on everything. But yeah.
I must have just been...
I liked it better on 360 when it came out because the 360 had bloom lighting and the PS3 didn't. I think it used...
I remember seeing that.
And so, like, the lighting in Armored Core looked way cooler because everything had a softness to the light, and on PS3 it looked like shit.
Yeah, I remember that now. I missed that one for some reason. I must have been doing something else in my life at the time. Who knows? But yeah, so it's been a long time since I played one. But like you said, co-op would be cool. But I really, really, really want them to go crazy with customization. I just want to be able to make whatever kind of mech I want. So
yeah, I want it to be as good as it's been, but better.
Yeah,
like a base minimum. If it's like as good as it was, I'll be happy. But yeah, just more. So
yeah.
All right. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Mirage. I am definitely curious about it. I think it's really interesting, the strategy that they're going to be making more of the RPG style Assassin's Creeds. They're going to be going like more old school with Assassin's Creed. I forgot which one this one is. Blockbuster franchise back to its more linear stealth. Yeah. So this is the one that a lot of people are really excited about because they're trying to go back to their roots, which I think sounds cool. But it just kind of reminds me of what Ubisoft's been doing lately and just trying to figure out what people want by offering whatever they can. And getting rid of what doesn't work and continuing with other things that do work. So hopefully this works for them. I need to see, more on it, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in it.
So I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since the French one. So it's hard for me to have like a hard opinion. I remember when we watched the previews for the mini Assassin's Creed projects coming, that a couple of them did look kind of cool. So I don't remember which ones are which at this point, but if it's one of those, I'll keep my eye on it. But I don't really have like any hard opinion. So
Fair. Sequel to your favorite game, Hades.
it's the episode where I piss everyone off constantly. I don't like roguelikes, so it'll be pass for me. Though the amount of people who love this game, I'm very happy that you guys are getting another one. It
So
definitely
soon.
deserves it.
So soon after the original.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for Hades too. I really liked Hades, so definitely not one of my most hyped games, but I'm stoked for it. I'll definitely play it. Liza P. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I think it looks pretty cool. Doesn't have quite the From Software quality to it, but it looks really high quality. It looks cool.
It does.
It's an interesting take, interesting theming that it's based around Pinocchio. But the world, the atmosphere, the combat, I think it looks cool. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking into it and possibly buying it day one.
Also, his mentions there, decisions based off lying or not impact gameplay. I think is an interesting idea. I really just kind of need to, because we saw some stuff on it, but I don't know. I feel like I need to see more still. But it looks good. I'm more on the side of anticipation than I am on the pass side of things. So
Fair. Marvel Spider-Man 2, I'll be picking this up day one. I think what they did with the last Spider-Man was really good. Probably one of the best superhero movies, or not movies, games I've ever played. And so I can only imagine this one will be even better. So, yeah, can't wait to play it.
I don't have any dislike for the series, but I didn't beat the first one. I didn't even open the second one. So probably not.
All right. Payday 3, they only just recently released a teaser announcement for this, confirming it's coming out, but I love Payday 2. The game is old, though, at this point, and so I'm definitely ready for a Payday 3. I haven't seen gameplay, though, and I'd like to see what they're going to bring to the table, how far they've advanced the formula, but who am I kidding? I can almost guarantee I'll be picking this up the day it releases. So,
I mean, unless they screw it up, I'm in the same page. But I don't know anything about it, so
yeah,
I can't really have a strong opinion.
Yeah, need some gameplay. Pikmin 4. I've never played any. Well, no. I played Pikmin 1 a little bit, so I'm a little behind.
Yeah, I played. I think it was the first one a little bit. It's just not my type of game. I don't have any issue with it or anything, and I know people love them. So
yeah, I mean, if I hear something that's like so undeniable about it, I'll look into it. But
Yeah.
I got nothing. No big hype on it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm curious, strongly curious to try this game out. It is a Dead by Daylight style game, but it's interesting because I think it's either 3 or 4 people who are trying to survive, but then there's like a team of like 2 or 3 of the family trying to kill you. So it's actually like teams versus each other.
okay,
Which I think sounds super interesting. I watched some gameplay and it looked pretty cool, but also seemed kind of limited because there's like 2 maps maybe. But I like that they're trying to do something different. So yeah, I'll probably pick this up when it comes out, but not super stoked on it. I can already kind of guess you probably got nothing for it.
yeah, I would say it's not my type of game. I also get concerned with movie license games because like, how long is it going to be supported for before they decide to take the license away? So
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion. Not my game.
Yeah. Next we got Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. I'm pretty excited about this. Saber Interactive's making this, and I love the games they make. They're really good at making fun games. But graphics look good. I'm like slowly becoming a Warhammer fan through the video games, and this is looking awesome. Looking like you're just like slashing through crowds of dudes as a giant hulking fucking space marine. So I think I'm gonna pick it up for sure.
I remember looking pretty all right. I'm not a big 40K guy, so I don't really have any hype for it. But if it's a good game, I'll pick it up.
All right. Wolf Among Us 2, I played through and beat the original one, and I liked it, and I've been waiting for a sequel for a long time, so I'm definitely going to play this. I feel like it's been so long, though, that I kind of don't remember fully what happened in the game, so maybe I need to go back and play through it, but I liked it. I thought it was really neat the way they did everything. The visual style was cool. I definitely think it's one of Telltale's best games that they made after, of course, The Walking Dead.
So good.
Yeah. So really excited for them to actually be able to make this. So yeah, I'll definitely be playing it.
I didn't play the first one, so I'd have to do that first. But
I think you'd like it.
I'm sure I would. I think most things, even properties I'm not necessarily super interested in, Telltale's got a pretty good way of making it interesting. So
Yeah, true. Notable games with this same release window. We got Aliens Dark Descent. I'm definitely interested in that. Arc Raiders. I'm definitely interested in that. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. Blasphemous 2. Interested in that. Crash Team Rumble. Everywhere. Exoprimal. I was interested in that until I watched the most recent trailer for it, and I was like, doesn't look that great. Immortals of Avium, Like a Dragon, Gaiden, definitely interested in that. Lollipop Chainsaw Remake, Lords of the Fallen, I'm definitely interested in that. Metal Slug Tactics, Moving Out 2, Oxenfree 2, Pragmata, interested in that. Remnant 2 is one of my most hyped games of 2023. I forgot about that one, but Remnant 2 is 100% one of my most hyped games, top 5. Maybe. Replaced, also really, really stoked about Replaced. It looks awesome. Slitterhead, I think, is that horror game. I think. What was Slitterhead? I think I'm interested in that. Stellar Blade, kind of interested. And Super Bomberman R2, maybe.
I'm struggling because I can't remember what anything is. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
Arc Raiders?
Arc Raiders is a third-person cooperative shooter made by that company that's making that. Oh god, the other game that's like a first-person shooter that's like a contest. Anyway, it's people. It's a lot of people who used to work at DICE. And Arc Raiders is like a sci-fi third-person shooter.
Did we watch them on it?
Yes,
I don't remember.
it's actually like a pretty good trailer. The game looks awesome, but
Well, I don't remember, so I need to refresh on that one, apparently.
but the dev making it is proven in what they've made before, but unproven in what they're going to be bringing with this dev. Because I'm kind of curious, because I think a lot of these games are going to be free to play, and I don't know how they're going to handle that. So
Gotcha.
that is my apprehension. But other than that, the quality's fucking there. Like, it looks really good.
Gotcha. Nothing's really clicking here. Like a Dragon, probably.
Did you play Like a Dragon?
That's the
RPG.
Yeah, with
Yakuza.
Plus Club.
Yeah. Okay.
I played it for quite a bit. I need to beat it.
Yeah.
But I played quite a bit.
Yeah. That's the. Isn't that the Gaiden? Is that the sequel?
I don't remember. I thought
remember either.
Ishin was.
No, Ishin's the samurai game.
Sam all turned around now.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm sure if it's in that series, I'm interested. So, Lollipop Chainsaw, I never played. It always looked kind of quirky though. It being remade might be interesting to play it because at this point it's too old, I think, for the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Lords of the Fallen is a maybe. It looked pretty interesting thematically. I like tactics games. Metal Slug's got a cool style. That's a big maybe. Remnant 2, 100%. Unless it just is bad, which I'd be so
looked awesome.
disappointed.
I'm
But yeah.
so ready for it.
And I don't remember anything else on this list. So
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, and you get to vote.
Oh, is this the rest of the list?
That's
That's
it.
it? What game are you most looking forward to next year?
I can't vote for you, but for me it's 16. So
Yeah, what they have listed is Legend of Zelda, Dead Space, Hogwarts Legacy, Atomic Heart, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Dead Island 2, Diablo 4, Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, Final Fantasy 16, Marvel
Resident
Spider.
Evil 16.
I was just thinking about Resident Evil apparently. Marvel Spider-Man 2, Pikmin 4, Starfield. They don't even have any of my most anticipated games, so I'd have to pick something else. Yeah, well, that's that. I thought there'd be more to this list, but guess not. So, anything else you want to say?
Same thing as always. I need more free time.
Need more free time. Need more money this year, dude. I'm gonna be spending a lot. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I got a chunk next month because of the PSVR 2, but I definitely wanted it. So
Yeah, I'm glad one of us got our hands on it because I wanna try it. So, and I'll buy one eventually. But now I'm looking at the new Vive and I'm like, So
yeah, I'm wondering what Valve's response to all that's going to be. Is there going to be a new index?
Index 2 probably. But
Also-
they're all about the Steam Deck right now, so I don't even think they're thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm also wondering because everyone's kind of getting away from the lighthouse thing,
Yep.
which I'm kind of happy about.
The two things they got to get rid of is, three things. They got to make the headset lighter so people can wear it longer. They got to get rid of the lighthouses because they want to get rid of setup, and they got to get rid of cords or minimize them because all those factors. The setup process is the reason why my VR is not being used all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But with wireless, the battery is going to be a huge issue too. So
Yeah, the Vive that they showed off had that battery pack once unplugged, but then at one point when the guy was playing, he had it's like a USB-C plugged into it.
oh,
It's
that's
plugged.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
So
And I'm sure they figured out the latency thing by now. I know early on when they were talking about wireless, it was a latency thing and it would increase motion sickness. So
well, in the PSVR 2, in one of the videos I watched, has 4 cameras on the front, and that's how it's doing a lot of the tracking.
yeah, it does similar to like the Quest does in that regard.
Yeah, but it just seems smart because it's like smoothing out the barrier of entry in the sense that like you don't have to set up with your controller your play area.
Drawing out the room, yeah.
It wants you to look around and it'll scan the room for you. I wonder how accurate that's going to be though, because I could see some people having things in the room it doesn't recognize and then they trip over it. But we'll see. But
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, looking really cool, and I'm glad that a lot of these will use their cameras to let you see without taking the headset off too and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
that's good. The eye tracking, like brought up earlier, haptic feedback in the controllers, haptic feedback in the headset, I believe, as well, on the PSVR 2. So
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I know it's supposed to have the exact same DualSense vibrations though in the controllers, which is really cool. So, but yeah. Anyway, how do we get on VR?
money this year.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was
and
like,
I said I have to drop a chunk next month.
yeah.
So
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments what are your most anticipated games of 2023. Give me a top 5 if you want. Give me a top 3. Just give me one. What are you looking most forward to? What are you curious about? What games are you avoiding this year? And do you think it's going to be a good year for gaming? Do you think it's going to be better than 2022? Do you think it's going to be worse? And yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. All right, it's that time again where we read your comments and we reply to them. If you want your comment read for sure, type in hashtag STLG and I'll read it first. And I'll make sure to read it unless it's something crazy. Otherwise, I read at random. So if I don't read your comment and you're like, you didn't read my comment, type in hashtag STLG. All right, so I made that video where I talked about how Deep Rock Galactic has a bunch of content, and I think it's like a near perfect game because it's pretty much made for me. I pretty much just gush about how much I love Deep Rock Galactic, and I thought it was really funny in comments over on TikTok how many people were like either, I never played this game, you're actually selling it to me, or like, oh, I've never heard of this game, you're selling it to me. Deep Rock owes me money.
I mean, they gave you some publicity.
They gave me the YouTube video got views because they actually posted on their Twitter and it got to like 3,000 some views or whatever. So I'm very appreciative of that, but at the same time, I did just make a 3-minute advertisement for them, so for free. And I appreciate the views, but then over on TikTok, I have like 53,000 views, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a good. It was fun making that video, and got a lot of really good comments. A couple things I want to address because people said it in the comments. First off, Flapjack, Daddy Claps, Dummy Thick, Pancake Cheeks, No Syrup said, I've heard you guys talk about this game for years, but never myself have played. Looks interesting and great to play with friends. I replied to you this already, but I'm just going to say this to everyone. This game is best with friends. You can play it by yourself and play with Bosco. It's fun enough, but it's definitely a game you want to play with friends. Hopefully you got a chance to try this out. Since you commented, because I think you might like it. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, we have been talking about it for years. Me specifically, but Shovy's been here for those conversations.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's funny that just now I made a video on it, but apparently it was worth it because a lot of people watched it, and I appreciate that. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's if we've been talking about it for this long and you haven't played it yet, what are you waiting for? Thank you for the comment. Let's see. Qwerty Momu says, you missed one thing. The Battle Pass doesn't have a FOMO effect since nothing is ever gone permanently. This is something that, okay, so my video on TikTok that I put on YouTube is 3 minutes long because in replies, when you do a video reply to somebody, you can only do 3 minutes or less. My original edit was 4 minutes. I cut off a whole minute of that video to make it fit. And one of the things I did say, two things that I regret cutting, but I had to, is the music is amazing in Deep Rock. I think it's like a fantastic soundtrack. It's really good, full of bangers. And also the season pass is handled very well in the sense that there is no FOMO because anything you don't accomplish in the season pass gets thrown into the loot pool that you find as you play the game already. So you can't lose access to that stuff. So you can just have a little more say on what you unlock right now if you play the season pass, but you won't lose access to that stuff. So you are right; it does have or doesn't have a FOMO effect when you play it. I did miss it, but not really, because I did put it in the video, but I just cut it because it wasn't as important as the rest of what I said. Thank you for the comment. Psycho Scream says, shit, if the game was crossplay, I'd be down to play this game anytime. Completely solid game. I would love if you could play with us. That would be a lot of fun. The problem is Xbox and Windows version play together, but Steam doesn't.
Just like Ark.
Yeah. And Sarah actually looked into this on why, and I guess the cave procedural generation is more advanced on the Steam version. And my brain instantly was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the Steam version's taking advantage of PC players, and so you're going to have more RAM to be able to load more advanced designs, but also dig more. Just like way back in the day on like Red Faction, if you had more RAM, you could dig further. Same thing here. And I'm sure the Windows version is limiting itself to what the consoles can play.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's really interesting, but kind of shitty that it does have crossplay, but not actually.
That's not crossplay.
Yeah, because
That's just
I don't know anybody
Xbox.
who plays fucking Deep Rock Galactic Windows Edition. I didn't know that existed. So yeah, hopefully an update later they'll make a way that like people on Steam can like opt into playing with Windows players, and maybe it can like dock it down a bit on the procedural generation. I think that'd be a decent compromise, or do something with the engine that can allow the console players to play with Steam players. But I think Deep Rock Galactic is out on Xbox One and PS4, and so that's going to be hard to do. So yeah, but anyway, I agree with that on most things. Crossplay should definitely be in most games, especially co-op games. So, yeah. Let's see. I think I had one more. I think it's funny. This person said, me watching the 12th video about why DRG is so good. That was from Epsilon. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of videos, because if you are into Deep Rock Galactic and you're making videos, you're probably going to make one gushing about how much you love the game. And then G. Morkin says, sometimes I think this is the best co-op game ever made. I think there is a case to be made that Deep Rock Galactic is definitely one of the best co-op games out there, in my opinion, if you're into it. So, yeah. A lot of comments on that video, though. Thank you, everybody who commented on that. And, yeah, if you didn't get your comment read, make sure to type in hashtag STLG. Also, welcome to any of the new subscribers that we got from that video. All right, last video we got comments on was a review of Biomutant, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and Divine Knockout for Plus Club in December. We talked about those games. Make sure to go check that out if you're curious about what we thought of those games. And we got some comments from you guys. One of them was JD Awesome says, put a ton of hours into 76. Better with friends. Personally, as a fan of the original Fallout series, the indirect storytelling is top-notch. Great story. Bethesda game, though, so it's got its bugs. Same bugs as any other Bethesda game. Ain't that the truth?
Or open world in general, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I appreciate that you gave us feedback on that, because we were talking about in that episode the games that are coming out in January. And Fallout 76 is one of those games. And it's amazing how much I've heard from people that Fallout 76 is like a decent game now, and they all say play with your friends, which you're also saying, so it's really interesting that people emphasize that, especially with how much I hear about griefers in the game. It makes sense that people would want to play with their friends. And yeah, I've heard, if you're a Fallout fan, I've heard a couple people say that they like the storytelling, they like the lore and what it adds to it, because even though you could argue this game was built just so Bethesda could have a multiplayer game, they could, have a games as a service type game. It is still part of that lore and world, and I guess it adds a lot to it. So that's pretty cool. And I have not played it this month, but I have played it before. I'll reserve what I thought of it then for Plus Club this month. But I am excited to sit down and play it with a group of friends. So we'll see how that goes. Anything you want to add to that?
No.
All right. Thank you for the comment. And last comment from K Cassidy90 says, wow, great video. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who commented. Thank you, everybody who watched those episodes. And make sure to check those out if you did not watch them. But that's going to do it for this episode of Tastecast, episode 180. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out other episodes. Check us out on our streams and socials. Links down below. Check us out on Discord. Link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I have a TikTok if you want to check out my shorts. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thank you, Chevy, for joining me.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode. Until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.